Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Daniel Moss with Moss Family Chiropractic. I'm here to talk to you about nutrition. This is our basic Food 101 workshop. I'm really excited to give this to you guys here tonight because food is one of my favorite things in the world. It's one of my favorite things I could talk about. I could talk about it all night. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take about an hour of your time here to give you some really good information about how to stay healthy through nutrition. So some of the things I want to talk to you about tonight, I want to go through just some simple things that you can change when it really comes to the quality of the ingredients that you're already using to cook with and prepare meals for. That's going to make you just so much healthier. And, most of it's not going to make the food taste any different. In fact, it should make it taste a lot better. So at the end of this, we're also going to give you an opportunity to get what's called our 21-day reset right here. And I'll talk to you about that here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started. So with what we teach here in the office, we teach what's called the 5 essentials of max living care. And it all starts with how your body heals, how your body functions. And honestly, the goal for me, for all of my patients, is to really help you understand how to take care of your health. I really wish I could just be there when everybody's bored and say, these are the 5 things that you need to do to be healthy. If you just did these 5 things, your health would never get in your way. And that's one of my greatest fears in life, is letting my health get in my way of the things I want to do. God gave us a purpose. We're all here for a reason, and you cannot fulfill that purpose if you are not healthy. So I always tell people, thank God there's only 5 things that we need to do. So what are these 5 things that we need to do? Well, number 1 is core chiropractic. We need chiropractic care. Now, why would we need chiropractic care? Why are we talking about that tonight? Well, it comes down to the true definition of health. If you want to be healthy, you need to know what health really is. And health doesn't necessarily mean I feel good, because that's what I hear a lot of. I feel good, I must be healthy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why should I do this if everything seems to be fine? It doesn't mean that you're healthy. People that have cancer sometimes will feel good before they get that diagnosis. People that have heart disease, a lot of times they don't know they have heart disease until they're dead of a heart attack. So what is the definition of health? It doesn't mean that you feel good. It means that you're healing good or healing well. Your body's functioning and doing exactly what it needs to do when it needs to do it. And you have to go back and say, okay, if my goal is to heal and function better, what controls and coordinates all health and all healing and all function in our body? And there's one thing that controls all of it. What is that? It's your brain. It's your brain and spinal cord. It sends messages from the brain down the spinal cord, out along your nerves to tell your body how to function. And as long as there's no interruption with that flow from the brain to the body would do what it needs to do to be healthy. All right. You have to understand that your normal state of being is that a state of health. If you are not healthy, if you are expressing symptoms, you need to look to figure out what is interrupting, what has interfered with that natural state of your being. Most of the time, it's an interruption to the nerve flow. As a chiropractor, my job is to locate, detect, and then correct these misalignments in your spine that are putting pressure on nerves, called subluxations. And if we can remove subluxations, you're going to be a lot healthier. Now, once we start doing that, then we need to look at what else can get in the way of you being healthy. Well, if you look at these 5 essentials, there's 4 more. One is understanding that health comes from inside, not outside, which means that you shouldn't be running to a doctor and getting a pill to cover up symptoms. You should be looking at what's going on inside. How can I get my body healthier? What can I do to remove interference? So then we look at those other 3. Nutrition is one of them. Oxygen and exercise, we need to move our body, is another one. And the last one is minimizing exposure to toxins. But tonight, we're really going to be focusing on my favorite out of the 4 left, which is nutrition. So let's do a nutrition self-check. I ask patients, how important is nutrition to you? And people are like, it's really important. And then I ask them to prove it. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what are you doing to be healthy? What does your nutrition look like? Well, I make my own meals. I'm like, okay, tell me about your meals. And they're telling me about this pasta and this steak and this and that. And I see that they're trying really hard to make better choices. They're being conscious of it, but they're not using the right ingredients. So tonight, it's all about just making those better choices. And, how much money are you spending on your nutrition? Years ago, I used to when I would go shopping, I'd cringe whenever I'd go do my grocery shopping at the cost. It was just my wife and I at the time. Now I have 3 children, and you know what? I've changed my mindset about buying the food. Every week, the amount of money I spend, I would have thrown up, okay, looking at that cost, but I now look at that as an investment in my family's health and their future. Because all the choices that you're making right now will dictate who you are and how healthy you are going to be in the future. We can't wait until our future to start taking care of our health. When we get there and we'll lose our health, we're going to wish we had made better choices before. So let's just start now. Let's just start making better choices right now. Okay, so looking at this as an investment is very, very important. Okay, so let's break through some mental barriers like I don't know where to start, or there's conflicting information. And that's one of the biggest ones I have found, is that people just don't know who to trust. There's all these different diets out there. There's the paleo diet and the South Beach diet, the Atkins diet, the don't eat diet. You know, there's all these different diets out there, and can they work to help you lose weight? And the answer is yes. But I'm going to tell you something very important. My goal is not to have you weigh less. That's never one of my goals for my patients. That is a side effect of getting healthy. So tonight, when it comes to nutrition, I want you to eat better so that you can remove interference, so your body can do what it needs to do, so that you can be healthy. And if that means that weight needs to come off, guess what's going to happen? The weight's going to come off. But if that means weight needs to go on, the weight's going to go on. So this is not a weight loss plan. I might say weight loss here and there because that's a really good side effect for some of these people that are going to be doing these plans here tonight. But that's not the goal. The goal is just to get you healthy. A lot of people don't do these plans because they don't want to feel deprived. I like my ice cream at night. You know, I like my this, I like my that, and I get that. But it's all about long-term goals. Are we talking about, I want to lose weight? I want to lose 10 pounds so that I can look better in my bikini in a couple of weeks when I go to the beach? I'm not talking about me, but you know what I mean. I'm not looking for short-term goals. I'm looking for long-term values. So what does that look like? It means I want to be healthy. That sounds like a good goal. Neat. But I want something more tangible. Like I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle in 50 years, right? No, 20 years. I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle and be able to do that for her. I want to be able to sit around my Thanksgiving table and look around and see my kids with their kids and know that I made that happen and I'm here to enjoy it because I made really good choices. Not just I want to lose 10 pounds. You guys see the difference? So at one point tonight, I want you to write down why you want to be healthy. Okay, why do you really want to be healthy? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you know why you want to be healthy, the how becomes very, very easy. So this is how we get through these mental barriers. So let's go through some myths. I'm going to be doing this here throughout this evening, some myths that I've heard that are just not true and how to debunk them so that we can move past them because they can become barriers. I've heard this one a lot. I have bad genes. So my parents were sick, so I'm just going to be sick too. So what? Just because my mom had cancer doesn't mean that I'm going to have cancer. All right. So there's something very important I want you to understand about genes. Yeah, genes do play a small part in health, but there's something more important than your genes, more important than genetics. It's called epigenetics. And epi means above. So there's something more important than genetics. It's called the epigenetics. And what that is your lifestyle. So there might be genes that turn diseases on and turn diseases off, but what dictates whether they turn on or off is the environment that body is created in. So if you live a poor lifestyle, these genes are going to turn on and cause you to follow down maybe the same pathway as your parents because maybe you're just making the same choices and eating the same foods and not exercising like they did. So the good news is you have control over those things. If you can turn genes on, you can turn them off by making a better choice, creating a different environment for your body to thrive in. So one of the things that causes these quote unquote genetic diseases like heart disease and cancer and diabetes is inflammation. And inflammation is something that can be reversed, but you need to know what causes inflammation. And what causes inflammation is eating too much sugar, damaged fats, and toxins. If you're doing these things, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago when I did the Heart Strong workshop, those things lead to inflammation in the arteries, inflammation in the cells, and can lead to heart disease and cancer and a whole bunch of other problems. So what do we need to do? eat less sugar, fix your fats, toxins. So what we've done is I've taken these things and put it into we made it very easy to understand and very easy to remember. And it's a little catchy, it's a little corny, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. To revolutionize your diet, to change the food that you're putting in to create health and not create disease, you need to do 4 things. Number 1, clean up your carbs. Number 2, fix your fats. Number 3, perfect your proteins. And number 4, trash the toxins. And we're going to go through all these, but real quick gist is cleaning up your carbs is eating better carbohydrates. Fixing your fats is eating better fats and not damaged fats. Number 3, perfecting your proteins, cleaning up the quality of the meats that you're eating. And number 4, removing toxins. And we're going to go through those here in the next few slides. So counting calories, I've heard this a lot. Weight Watchers is big with this. So Weight Watchers, and I don't want to throw that under the bus, but it's just a good example of calories first. We're counting the calories, not necessarily the quality of the calories. So if you eat less, will you weigh less? Possibly. Will you be healthier? Probably not. So if you're doing this where you're just counting the calories, look what could happen. Well, 22 almonds equals 153 calories. 1 Twinkie is 150 calories. Which do you think the calorie counter would go for? Well, it would be the Twinkie because there's less calories in it. Do you think that that person is going to be healthier or sicker now? Obviously sicker because there's all kinds of sugar, refined flours, bad fats, fried food versus healthy nuts that God gave us to eat. Okay, so it has nothing to do with calories. I never look at calories. I just don't do it because it doesn't mean a darn thing to me. It really comes down to the quality of the ingredients. And you only know that by understanding how to read ingredient labels. So let's talk about sugar. High fructose corn syrup. Like, we're the only country in the world that allows this stuff in our food. And it's because we have a surplus of corn and the government has subsidized the cost. And they found a way to use all the corn by boiling it down to what they call high fructose corn syrup, or HFCS. And in 1966, we had 0 pounds in the average American diet contained 0 pounds of this stuff. In 2001, it was 63 pounds. 63 pounds per person. That was in 2001, almost 20 years ago. Okay, I can't imagine what it would be like right now, but I mean, the average American is drinking 55 gallons of soda every year. Even if you're drinking one a day, one Coca-Cola, 12-ounce Coca-Cola has more sugar in that one can than you're supposed to eat in an entire day. Okay, that to me is ridiculous. That is a fast track to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, because we already talked about sugar causes inflammation, which leads to these big bad diseases. So eliminate the sugar as much as you can, but that's easier said than done. Where do you find sugar? Well, yeah, it's in soda, but it's in your pasta sauces. It's in lunch meat, canned foods, your condiments, even ketchup has it in it, mayonnaise, pizza, sauces, salad dressings. It is in everything. So again, do you have to get rid of all your sweets to be healthy? The answer is no. There are other ways of doing that and using sugar substitutes, but here's one that you should not be using, and that is Splenda. A lot of people think that, it was touted as it was like the new sugar, because the slogan of Splenda is that it's made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar. And they even try to trick you into thinking that when you read the ingredients, it is sugar, because Splenda is not Splenda on an ingredient label. It's called sucralose. That sounds a lot like sucrose, which is sugar. It's chlorinated sugar, which is detrimental to your health. It causes serious gastrointestinal issues, seizures, dizziness, migraines, blurred vision, allergic reactions, blood sugar increases and weight gain, carcinogen. You cook it. So it's like, why are we doing that? Because we don't want the sugar, and I appreciate that we don't want the sugar, but this is not a better option. This is just in the same category as aspartame, which is, I think, I can't remember, it was NutraSweet. There's Sweet and Low with saccharin. It just goes on and on. This stuff is neurotoxic. It's poison. You do not want this in your diet. So what do we do instead? Well, we can still have our dessert. We can still have our sweets and not affect our blood sugar level. What do we use instead? The best one out there is probably called stevia. Stevia is a plant that tastes sweet. Now, if you've used stevia before, like all of us, I believe everybody that's used stevia at least once has ruined something because they use way too much. Stevia is very potent. You need very little. Otherwise, it has a really weird aftertaste. It's way, way, way too sweet, and you've just ruined those brownies. That's what we did the first time I made brownies. I was trying to make them sweet, and I ruined them. But stevia is something that you can use. It's a really good sugar substitute. The other two that I actually prefer over stevia, one is called xylitol. It's Xylitol, xylitol. I think that's how you say it, spell it. Or erythritol. Those are sugar alcohols. So they taste sweet. My favorite part is you don't screw it up with the how much do you use, because it's a 1-to-1 ratio with sugar to xylitol. So it's the exact same. So if it calls for a cup of sugar, you can use a cup of xylitol. Just understand that if you use or consume too much xylitol at one time, it can be a gastrointestinal irritant. It makes you go to the bathroom, okay? But it does not spike your blood sugar level. It will not cause you to gain weight or become diabetic. So these are some better options for you. So instead of using sugar, let's use stevia, xylitol, or erythritol. Now, here's another myth I hear a lot. Fat makes you fat. That is not true. That is not true. We need fat. Fat is absolutely essential for us to live. I mean, our brain is made of fat. Every one of your cells in your body, you have 37 trillion cells in your body, they are all made of fat. They have a lipid bilayer. It means a fat bilayer that allows things to come in, allows things to come out. It's made of fat. If you are not eating fat, that is a major problem. You cannot be healthy without fat. If you don't have fat, you don't have cholesterol, then you don't have hormones. Your hormones cannot be made without fat. All right? So bad things can happen without fat. So what we want to do, though, is we want to eat more fat. Because what was it? The 70s and 80s was when there was the low-fat craze. Everything was low-fat, no-fat. Yet we got bigger and bigger during that time. Because it's not that fat that makes you fat. It's the sugar. You take fat out of something, it's going to taste awful. If you want it to taste better, you have to add sugar to it. So that's how we all got big in the 70s and 80s. So now we understand it's not about eating too much fat that makes you fat. It's about eating the wrong type of fat. So this is a very easy change. This is some changes that a lot of people have already made, but we want to get rid of bad fats and we want to add in good fats. So what are the bad fats? The bad fats are right here for you on the screen, hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. So typically they use cottonseed oil, soybean oil, or something just called vegetable oil. And what they do to make these hydrogenated oils is they take your oil, which is liquid at room temperature, they heat it up to a high temperature under high pressure and add nickel. And what happens is a reaction happens that changes it to a trans fat. It changes its organic chemistry, but you don't need to know about that. It's just trans fat. It changes one of the compounds to make it solid at room temperature. So you took a vegetable oil and made it solid at room temperature by this process. So now it looks like a big gray mass, right? So what do they do then? They color it yellow, they add butter flavor, and they call that margarine. They call that health food, heart health food. You've got to be kidding me. This is not heart health food. Trans fats destroy the inner lining of your arteries. So every time you're using margarine or synthetic butters like Earth Balance or Smart Balance, whatever it's called, you are actually causing more heart disease. You're causing inflammation in your cells. You're causing cancer and inflammation. I mean, it's like, why are we doing this? If you want butter, eat butter. Margarine, it should never be used ever again. So, I don't like wasting money. I don't like wasting food. But I'll tell you right now, if you have Country Crock or any of those margarines, Smart Balance in your refrigerator, I would highly suggest going to it tonight and throwing it in the trash. Okay? Go buy butter. We're going to talk about that here in a second. The other bad fat you really want to avoid are these rancid vegetable oils. These vegetable oils, they are rancid at room temperature. They can sit, they're stable on the shelf for years, which is why they're in every bread and cookie and all these boxed foods, because they're shelf stable. That's great for the producers of this stuff, but if they last longer on the shelf, that means you last less long. You don't last as long because it's bad for you. Okay, so what we want to do is avoid things like corn oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, corn oil. All these oils on the left side of the screen are the ones you want to avoid. Again, if you have those in your house, I would just go ahead and throw those away. What do we need to do? We need to add in good fats. And these are the ones that are not altered by man. These are the ones that are naturally found or easily expressed, like extra virgin olive oil. A lot of people have heard of the Mediterranean diet. This is very important in that Mediterranean diet because it's good for your heart. But as good as it is, and most people use this, if you heat it over medium heat, let's say you're sauteing or even frying in it or grilling with extra virgin olive oil, you are oxidizing it. And when you oxidize it, it becomes a bad fat. So you do not want a bad fat. You only want good fats. So extra virgin olive oil, I typically don't even cook with it anymore. I just use it for dressings. So that's what I would recommend doing, just using it for dressings or even low heat. Avocados and avocado oil. Those are my favorites. I've never eaten more avocados in my life. They're full of good fats, MCT, avocado oil. I use avocado oil all the time. That's what I cook with for high heat. So anything I'm doing for high heat, whether it's grilling or a wok or frying, I like to do avocado oil. Coconut oil is another really good one. Now, coconut oil adds a little bit of a sweet flavor to it, so it's really good for baking. It's good for making like Thai or Asian dishes as well. Then where else are we going to find good fats? You're going to find them in raw nuts. All right, seeds, seed oils. Here we go with the butter. If we're going to get butter, I want the real stuff. I don't want the fake stuff, the trans fat stuff. I want the real stuff. Grass-fed butter is going to be the best. There are a couple brands out there. The most attainable and easy to find is Kerrygold. So that's what I would recommend doing. And I'll just tell you right now, the best deal on that is at Costco. I think you get 4 blocks for like $11. It's a lot more money when you buy them by the block at the other local chains. Raw cheese, yogurt, grass-fed beef. If you're going to do beef, it needs to be grass-fed. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Eggs, whole milk, fatty fish like wild salmon, small fish like sardines, as long as they're wild caught. These are good sources of healthy fats. Now, when my patients say, okay, I can only afford to change one thing when it comes to my diet, what should I do? That's a very easy answer for me. Always change your animal products first. All right, here's why. Your food, you need to start thinking about meat in a way that you think about it like this. What did my food eat before I ate it? Do you want to, if you're going to eat beef, do you want to find the fattest, sickest cow? Do you want to find the sickest, fattest cow out there and eat that one, or do you want to find the healthiest cow? I want to eat the healthiest cow. Now, Colette, if you don't like nuts, you don't have to eat nuts. Okay, the simple answer: you don't have to eat the nuts. You can if you like. You can do seeds. Sunflower seeds are really good for you. But there's a couple other nuts. If you don't like all the nuts, you and I need to talk. I bet I can find a nut that you do like. Okay. But yeah, so grass-fed beef. Oh, I got another one from Jennifer. How about making your own butter from heavy cream salt? You show me how to do that, and I'm on board with that, because that would be awesome. I don't know how to do that. I've never churned butter. It sounds like a great project to try. Now we have all this time at home. But here's the thing, Jennifer, and this goes back to what we're talking about with grass-fed. I want my cows to be healthy. My cows should not be eating anything except grass. If they're eating, if they're conventionally raised, which means that they are eating grains and corn and genetically modified this and that, stuff that's been sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, they are going to be sick. They're going to cause heart disease. They're going to cause cancer. They're going to lead to inflammation. We do not want that type of meat in our body. We want 100% grass-fed beef. Now, going back to Jennifer, it's not just the beef that I want grass-fed. Anything that comes from a cow needs to be grass-fed. Okay, so if you're drinking conventional milk, you're now getting all the pesticides and herbicides. You're getting the steroids. You're getting the antibiotics that they fed to these cows to keep them alive and grow faster. You don't want that. You want milk from grass-fed cows. It's called grass milk, grass-fed milk. Okay. Cheese, grass-fed cheese, yogurt, grass-fed yogurt. And the good news is this stuff is becoming more and more attainable, more and more mainstream. So Kroger has it, Aldi's has it, Sprouts has it, Whole Foods has it. So you can find these things. We do some the organic. It's called grass-fed milk. So that's what you're going to want to use when you make that. Now, I'm going to get a little technical here for a second when it comes to grass-fed beef. I want to talk about omega-3s and omega-6s. I know I went into depth about this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about heart health. Now, omega-3s and omega-6s are very important. We need these. Our body cannot make them. They cannot synthesize them, which means that we need to get them from our diet. Now, omega-3s typically are anti-inflammatory, and omega-6s are pro-inflammatory. We don't want a lot of inflammation. We want anti-inflammation, which is why we want more omega-3s in our diet. Now, it really has to do with the ratio, okay? The proper ratio of omega-3s and omega-6s would be 1-to-1, which means that they're even, all the way up to 4-to-1, which means you can have 4 omega-6s for every omega-3. As long as you're within that ratio, you're not going to create inflammation. The problem here is that when you eat conventionally raised red meat, it's not 1-to-1, it's not 4-to-1, it's actually 20-to-1. 20 omega-6s to every 1 omega-3. This is why your typical conventionally raised corn-fed beef is so bad for us, okay? What does grass-fed look like? Grass-fed, the ratio is actually 2.5-to-1. It's only 2.5-to-1, which means grass-fed beef is actually anti-inflammatory. It's actually within the ratio, which means it's good for you. Again, anything that comes from a cow, please, please, please start looking for grass-fed. Now, it will cost a little bit more money, but again, don't look at it as it costs more money, because it's only costing more money now. It's an investment in your future. If you don't do it now, you're going to pay for your health now, or you're going to pay for your health later. I'd rather invest in my health and my family's health now so I don't have to pay for it later. Let's talk about chicken. You want your chicken to be, again, what is chicken supposed to be eating? Bugs, worms, right? Running around looking for their own stuff, getting good exercise. You want organic and free-range chicken, organic and free-range eggs. This is good stuff. Again, you don't want them sitting there drinking or eating genetically modified feed and corn and grains that they're not supposed to be getting. Again, you get the free-range chickens, you have higher folate, beta-carotene, more omega-3s, and better vitamins, A, D, E, and B12. And you can find this everywhere now. All right, everybody's got this. What about fish? So the biggest thing here for fish is making sure that you're not eating farm-raised fish. Again, let's go back to salmon for a second. So salmon typically is in Pacific cold waters, and the salmon eat little fish and they eat bugs. So what they eat is what creates so much omega-3s in their body and all those oils, which is so good for us, for our heart, for our brain, for our nervous system, and to reduce inflammation. So it's not just the salmon, it's what the salmon was eating, which is what's so good for us. Take that same salmon, throw it into the Atlantic, into a pen, and feed it corn. How is a fish supposed to eat corn? It doesn't make any sense. That's not how God created it. No wonder these fish are not healthy. So what you're trying to get at that salmon is that rich omega-3 oil. You're not getting that when you're getting farm-raised fish. So you must always get wild-caught fish. So when you're going out to restaurants, my wife always does this, and they say salmon, ask them right then, is this wild-caught or farm-raised? They'll go back and find out, and if it says farm-raised, next. All right, don't get it because it's toxic for you. I read an article not too long ago that said that Atlantic salmon, which means it's farm raised, is one of the most toxic foods on earth. So don't do it. So what other fish can you eat? Sardines. I love sardines. Just kidding. I don't like sardines, but they're small fish and they are good for you because they're really high in omega-3s. Herring's another one that I don't like, but it's good for you. Salmon and flounder. I do like salmon. I really like flounder. There are some other fish, but when you're getting the fish, you want to minimize how often you eat large fish like tuna and mackerel and grouper. You want to eat smaller fish like these ones I'm talking about here more often. And every once in a while, it's fine to splurge, but tuna should not be a staple of your diet. It's high in mercury and other toxins. Okay? All right. How else can we get quality protein? Well, one way I like to do it is by eating or making smoothies in the morning. So smoothies or shakes. And I use our grass-fed whey protein. Now, there's a lot of proteins out there and a lot of whey proteins. And I've done these for years. Like muscle milk was the one I really love to do because it tasted good. And then I started learning about what's good, what's not good. And I realized that I was doing so much damage to my body by taking these proteins, and I didn't know it because it was full of sugar. It was full of sucralose. It was not from grass-fed cows. So these are the things, if you're looking for a high quality protein, these are the things I want you to look for. I want it to be grass-fed. Again, where's whey come from? It comes from milk and dairy. It's coming from a cow. It needs to be grass-fed. So your protein has to be grass-fed. You don't want any added sugars to it, and no sucralose or these other additives to make things sweet. So ours is sweetened with stevia. Now, I will tell you, like I said before, stevia has to be done right for it to taste good. And the great news is ours is done right. You do not taste the stevia. It just sweetens it up. We have a chocolate vanilla, and they both taste fantastic. Ours has all the amino acids you need. It has probiotics. And the other thing is, when they pasteurize it, they do low heat pasteurization so that they do not denature the proteins. A lot of the companies out there, they just, they heat it up to pasteurize it to get that done, but it denatures the proteins, makes it not as bioavailable. So it's very important that it's bioavailable, grass-fed, no sugar, and then you do not want isolate. You do not want whey protein isolate. You want whey protein concentrate. Okay, so we do have these. We have the chocolate with vanilla. We have a couple other options here at the office as well. All right, let's move on to toxins. So here's the myth, and I'm sure you guys already know this. The FDA and USDA effectively protects the general public from dangerous products. That's what I give that. It's a good old F, right? We all know this. They do not protect us very well at all. The FDA has approved approximately 3,000 food additives, preservatives, and colorings. And this is a kicker. The average person ingests about 150 pounds of additives every year. That's ridiculous. Those additives are chemicals that are there to make you want it more and to preserve the flavor and make the shelf life longer. None of those things of which are good for you or your health. So we don't want this stuff. This is where it comes down to reading labels and understanding how to do that so you know when it's good and when it's not good. The other thing is we talk about our genetically modified organisms. So GMOs, I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. The GMOs that I really want you to pay attention to, the two biggest ones are corn and soy. So corn, 85% of corn is genetically modified. So anything that I get that's corn needs to be organic. I always only buy organic corn. Soy, I would only eat organic soy, but honestly, I don't like soy. It is a xenoestrogen, which means it causes estrogen levels to rise if you eat too much of it. So I highly suggest just staying away from it. The only time I ever really eat soy is if we go get sushi and we do some edamame, or I use tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce, and it's organic. Other than that, I'm really not touching soy, and I don't really recommend it either. So these are kind of what we were just talking about. You need to be careful of the hormones and antibiotics in your milk and your meats. Again, if you're going with organic, you don't have to worry about these things. This is why it's so important to be eating a lot of your meats organic. This is why I always tell my patients, change the meats first. So right now, if you just change the meats and change the quality of the fats that you're using, first of all, nobody's going to complain about the food because it's not going to taste any different. In fact, it'll probably taste better, and you're going to be so much healthier because of that for you and your entire family. So here's another myth. Eating healthy is boring. It doesn't taste good. It's too hard to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is absolutely not true. Like I said, I'm the chef at my house. It's one of my passions. I love eating. I love cooking. And I love to be healthy. And you can do all these things. And we have tons of resources for you online here at the office. And one of those is the Align Your Health book. This is what that looks like. And in our office, we have the Align Your Health book. You can get it online as well on our website. But we do not teach diets in my office. Like I said before, my goal is not to help you lose weight. My goal is to help you get healthy. And if that means weight's going to come off, fantastic. If it means weight's going to go on, fantastic, because it's all about optimal health. Now, we have two what are called nutrition plans here in the office. The first one's called your core plan. The core plan is our basic plan. It's something that I recommend everybody be on. Everybody needs to be having some type of regimen and principles to live by when it comes to eating. And it's really good for health maintenance. It's great for families because it's easy to implement. And let me go through these for you. There's three things we're going to talk about: fat, carbohydrates, and protein. So the fats, all we're doing here is taking the bad fats and replacing them with good fats. And we're going to maybe use a little bit more fats. Okay, so maybe a little bit more dressing, using butter on our vegetables. Basically, I don't want you avoiding fat. I don't want you to go no fat, no fat. I want you to start using fats, but make sure that they're healthy. So get rid of the bad fats, bring in the good fats. The next thing we're going to do is change our protein. We're going to get rid of the conventionally raised chicken, the conventionally raised beef, and the farm raised fish, and we're going wild caught fish, grass-fed beef, organic chicken. You may have noticed I haven't talked about pork because pork is not on our list of healthy foods because They are fully, not only is the food, the pork acidic, but it is also full of parasites. I've seen too many videos about it. Now, let me be honest. I love barbecue. So am I going to sit here and tell you that I never eat pork? I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you never to eat pork. What I am going to tell you to do is limit it. I do a barbecue maybe twice a year now, when I used to do it 3 times a month. We rarely get any pork anymore because of that. So really limiting those things. And then the last thing you're going to do is carbohydrates. What you're going to do with your carbohydrates is you're going to go from your refined white stuff to whole grain. So if you're eating white rice, go to brown rice. It's better for your body. If you're doing white potatoes, go to sweet potatoes. Pasta, you can go whole grain pasta, or even better, go whole grain rice pasta. It's better for you. There's no gluten in it. White bread, whole grain bread. So just those couple little changes right there, your whole family is going to be healthier. Now, we also have what's called the advanced plan. And the advanced plan is for those people that are looking to lose weight and they know that they have weight to lose. People that are already unhealthy, people that have cancer or have had cancer, heart disease, type 2 diabetes. This advanced plan is something that any of us can do. And the good news is you could actually do this sustainably for the rest of your life and not feel deprived. Do you have to stay on that? The answer is no. What my wife and I like to do, we like to do what's called the advanced plan for maybe 30 days at a time. I was having a good conversation with a patient the other day saying, listen, I don't want you to say you need to eat like this for the rest of your life, because that sounds like a big mountain to climb. I like small hills. I like to go up a hill and then see what it's like on the other side. So I'll do the advanced plan for 30 days, but I do it right. There's no cheating for me. I want to do it right because I want to get the most effect out of those 30 days. At the end of those 30 days, then I decide, what should the next 30 days look like? Should I continue on the advanced plan, or should I go back to the core plan? I'm not going to go to McDonald's and go to Chick-fil-A. I'm not going to go all the way back there, but I can kind of go back and forth between these 2 plans. But I'd say 3 times a year, my wife and I and my family will go advanced plan hardcore for a month. And I'll tell you right now, every time we do it, we ask each other, why are we just doing this all the time? And I don't have a good answer for you. So what is the difference between the core plan and the advanced plan? Well, we already made better choices with our fats. We got rid of our bad fats and made them good fats. Now we're just going to increase the amount of fats. So I'm now dousing a grass-fed butter over my vegetables. When I'm making my smoothies in the morning, I'm using my grass-fed protein. I'm now taking MCT oil or coconut oil or even avocado oil and pouring a couple tablespoons at least into my smoothie because I want more fat. Okay, because we're now going to, when you're on the advanced plan, the whole goal is to stop eating carbs and turn into a fat burner. And about 7 to 14 days after you do this, if you stay strict with it, your energy is going to go through the roof and your fat is going to fall off your body. It's an amazing thing. You're going to feel fantastic. Now, what's the other difference here? The protein. We're going to eat a little bit less protein. So we are not going to eat as much meat. So none of these big, huge steaks. We're going to make smaller portions. Not tiny, but just smaller portions. And then for the carbohydrates, this is the big change. We're getting rid of all the carbs when it comes to grains and sugars and fruit. Again, the goal of the advanced plan is to starve the body of sugar carbohydrates and turn it from a carb burner, which is kind of like up and down, looking for carbs and crashing, to a sustained fat burning mode. It's called ketosis. You don't necessarily going to get into full ketosis like the keto diet does, but it's safe for everybody to do with the amount of carbohydrates that this allows. So no more grains. That means no pasta, no breads, no rice, no quinoa, no added sugars. We're just going to be using stuff like stevia, xylitol, and erythritol. And the fruits. Fruits contain sugar. And, I understand that God put it here, but at the same point, he didn't tell us to eat 2 pineapples a day or 14 oranges. That's too much sugar. Don't drink juice. Juice by itself has no fiber left. You're getting way too much sugar in there. So orange juice is not really good for you. So we can still eat berries. We can do Granny Smith apples, and we can do grapefruit. And this is all in moderation. So I like to make a smoothie in the morning when I'm on the advanced plan. And my smoothie looks like this. I do 1 scoop of the chocolate grass-fed protein. I do a handful of frozen organic strawberries. I do a handful of organic spinach. And then I do about 1.5 cups of organic almond milk. Blend it for a minute, and I call it the chocolate-covered strawberry because it tastes like chocolate strawberry milkshake. I mean, it tastes like it shouldn't be good for you, but it's giving you all the things you need for a healthy day. All right, so let's establish some general healthy nutrition tips. again, you need to remember why you want to be healthy. If you constantly remember why you started, it's going to be hard to quit. Okay, it's going to be hard to stop. You just continue. When you feel like quitting, remember why you started, and it will get you through to your goal. Thinking of this is a big mindset thing. Start thinking of food as fuel and sustenance, not a luxury that I want to go eat. Okay, I want to go engorge myself with buffalo wings and chili. No, I want to eat to give my body fuel so I can continue on my day. We want to add more healthy and like nutrient dense options. So a lot more kale and collards and just vegetables. Vegetables are the best thing for us. We just need to eat more of it. And if you don't want to eat more vegetables, you can always do a supplement like a Max Greens or a juice that has a lot of it in it, but don't buy the store-bought stuff. It's not as bioavailable because it's been sitting there for a while. And if you do something like the Naked Green juice, I mean, it's like, it says it's a juice, but it's like 56 grams of sugar. So it kind of goes against everything. So the biggest change when it came to nutrition in my household, in my life, was one of the last things on there where it says spend time planning and shopping. I spend every Tuesday morning, I do my shopping run. I go to Whole Foods, I go to Costco, and I go to Kroger. And I do it in about an hour and a half. I can go get all those things done. But the only way I can do that is if I had a list and I had a plan. So on Monday night and sometimes Tuesday morning, my wife and I will sit down and we come up with our menu. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is new. This is not the old me. The old me was I went to the store hungry and I'd buy stuff I didn't need. And then, if you don't have a plan and you're hungry, you end up just sitting back and getting lazy and then ordering what? Yeah, pizza, right? Everybody's going to order pizza. And that, I can tell you, that's an easy way to get sick, fat, and nearly dead. So this is what we do. I just come up with this myself. It's just an index card. And as you can see, we have B, L, and D. It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the left. And then Tuesday through Monday, it's my 7 days. So if I called my wife right now and said, honey, what are we having for lunch on Saturday? She could tell me exactly what we're having. I'm going to tell you that takes so much pressure off having to figure out everything. I just spend about 30 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little less on Monday night. It makes your life so much easier. And you know what? If you look on dinner for Saturday night, what does it say? We're going out. So we actually plan when we're going to go out, not because we had to go out, because we actually wanted to go out. So if you have to go out, you end up doing fast food or something that's not healthy versus I want to go out, and you can pick and choose where to go. And as you can see, there's a bunch of arrows there because life is not perfect. It's okay to change things around, but I have all the ingredients I need on Tuesday when I come home to make all of these meals. So this is a key. If you really want to be healthy and you want to really take control of your diet and your nutrition, please plan ahead. It makes the biggest change. It was the biggest change I've ever done. So on the back of that card, there's my list. On the left side is my Whole Foods list. On my right side is my Costco list. I don't expect anybody but Whitney to be able to read those words because she has learned my handwriting pretty well. But I am an executor of a list. I go to Whole Foods. I'm in and out in 20 minutes. How the heck can I do that, my wife says, because she'll spend 2 hours there. I explained to her that I'm not shopping. I'm executing a list. If it's on the list, I'm buying it. If it's not on the list, I'm not even thinking about it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times my wife comes home and says, hey, you didn't get the eggs. I'm like, it wasn't on the list. But you get eggs every week. I'm like, it wasn't on the list. This is the only way I can go in and out of these stores quickly and efficiently, and I'm not sitting around and looking for everything. But I will tell you, when you start to make these changes and you start to make better changes and choices when it comes to better ingredients, I want you to start reading your labels. Okay? The first couple times you go to the store, you're not going to be in and out in 20 minutes. You're going to be there for a few hours because I highly suggest reading the ingredient label of absolutely everything that you put in your cart. Okay? If you're not reading it, how are you going to know what's in it? The good news is once you start knowing what's in these things, and let's say you're looking for ketchup, you can find the healthiest ketchup. The next time you don't need to read the label because you already knew which brand passed your test. Okay? Now, every 6 months or so, I would highly suggest looking at the label because they do change. They will change ingredients. They don't have to tell you what they're doing. But it's, again, the informed consumer is the best one because there's nobody out there looking out for your health more than you will be. So here's some label reading do's. Look for minimal ingredients. Obviously, the less the better. So vegetables shouldn't have an ingredient label on it, so that's even better. Natural ingredients. So hopefully you can pronounce a lot of these words. If you can't pronounce it, it's probably not good for you. Again, without the buying more foods without labels, obviously. And then if there's something that does not pass the test, put it right back on the shelf. That's where you're going to make the choices that are going to be better for your health at your house. If you didn't buy it, you can't eat it. And that's exactly right, Colette. Just because something says organic does not mean it's healthy. If it says natural, that does not necessarily mean it's healthy. Gluten-free typically does not mean it's healthy at all. It's just gluten-free junk food. Okay? So you, again, reading the ingredient labels of everything that you're putting in your cart, it's an investment of your time in the first few runs, and then you can start picking up your pace. So I don't look at nutrition values. Okay? I don't look at nutrition facts. I do not look at those because that does not tell me the truth. The truth comes in the ingredient label. You need to look at those things. That's the only thing I care about. In fact, on the front of the anything you buy, whatever's on the front means nothing to me. It's all marketing. It just makes me want to buy it. Doesn't mean it's actually true. And I'm going to give you an example here on the next slide. But here's some, you might want to take a picture of this one. This is some things you might want to write down. Some things that you need to know that are going to be in a lot of the food that you might eat if you're eating processed foods that are really, really bad for you, like monosodium glutamate. It's also known as MSG. That's easy to understand. And MSG is a neurotoxin. It's awful for you. It can cause all kinds of problems from ADD and ADHD all the way up to seizures. So you really want to avoid anything with MSG in it. But the problem with MSG is it's high in glutamic acid, which is what's causing these problems. Glutamic acid is also in something called hydrolyzed, and then whatever word after that does not matter. So it could say hydrolyzed yeast extract, hydrolyzed vegetable protein. It does not matter. If it says hydrolyzed, whatever the next word doesn't matter, that is high in glutamic acid. It's just as bad as MSG. Put it back on the shelf. The other one is autolyzed vegetable protein. A lot of times you'll see in flavored potato chip bags or chip bags, autolyzed yeast extract. We're like, oh, extract from yeast. That sounds good. The word autolyzed ruined it all. So if you see autolyzed yeast extract, put it back. You see torula yeast, put it back. You see maltodextrin, put it back. What's the other one? Sodium caseinate. These are all things that are high in glutamic acid. It's just like MSG, put it back. And that's sodium caseinate, CASEINATE. Artificial sweeteners, we already talked about this. Sucralose, Splenda, aspartame, NutraSweet, Equal, saccharin. So any of these artificial sweeteners, put it back. Hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, anything after that word is not good for you. Those are those trans fats we talked about earlier. That's a damaged fat, causes inflammation, leads to heart disease and cancer. Put it back. And then all these, the end of the nutrition label, all these other chemicals, additives, colorings, preservatives, chemical names. These things are awful for you. And you're like, oh, well, it wouldn't be in there if it wasn't safe. Not true. Those are there for one reason: to extend the shelf life. If it's extending the shelf life of yours, your shelf life will be shorter. That's what I was trying to say earlier, and I got it right this time. So let's go. I want to show you an example of questionable marketing. Skippy Smooth. No trans fat. It says right on the front, no trans fat. They must be telling the truth. It says it right there. Well, if you follow my rules here, don't believe what's on the front. It's just marketing. You turn it around on the back. Now you have the ingredient labels. It says freshly roasted peanuts. Great, there's peanuts in there. Soybean oil. Is that a good fat or bad fat? It's one of the bad fats. So I wouldn't even bother reading any further. I would just go ahead and put it back. I'm done. But if we were to go further, maltodextrin. I just talked about maltodextrin being high in glutamic acid. Another reason to put it back. Icing sugar. We don't really want the sugar, but look at that. Hydrogenated vegetable oil. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is what? It's a trans fat. So how in the world can they put trans fat in there and then say no trans fat? They're lying, right? Well, not technically. In 2006, the FDA passed a rule that said in order for you to continue to say that there's no trans fats in your food, there needs to be less than 500 milligrams of trans fat per serving. So what did all these manufacturers do? Instead of changing all of their recipes, they just changed the serving size so that there was less than 500 milligrams per serving. And therefore, they can still call Skippy Smooth trans fat free or no trans fat when that's a complete lie. And yes, Colette, it doesn't matter if it's organic or not. They can still do that. But I will tell you, organic peanut butter typically does not have bad oils in it. Not all the time. Again, you never know. That's why I want to teach you these principles so that you can be your best advocate when you go shopping, so that you know exactly what is good and what you need to put back on the shelf. All right. So now what I'm going to go into just briefly is a way of eating that if you are here to lose weight, restore health, and are really going to do some big changes. Michael, monk fruit sweeteners, that is another, that one is actually a newer one, and that is healthy. It does not affect the blood sugar levels. So monk fruit, he's saying, is similar to stevia. So that is a good version, something that you could use to sweeten things and not change your blood sugar levels. So thank you for reminding me, Michael. I appreciate that. So what we're going to talk about now is a way to time your meals to actually help you burn fat and detoxify and restore health. It's called intermittent fasting. Some of you have heard of this. Some of you have done this here in our office. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's go through this for a second. So basically, something very important about your gut, and this is something I want everybody to understand. Your gut needs 12 hours a day of no food going through it for it to properly absorb, eliminate, and detoxify your body. This is why we're not supposed to eat after dinner until we have breakfast. And if you look at the word breakfast, it really is break fast. So if you eat dinner at 7 p.m., you're really not supposed to eat breakfast until 7 a.m., where you're breaking your fast with your breakfast. So if you guys do nothing different, my one suggestion would be stop eating after dinner until you eat breakfast in the morning. You just do that one thing, you're going to see some changes in your body. But if you want to amplify that, we're going to do intermittent fasting. And on here on the slide, you can see on the left side is the beginner. On the right side is what we call the warrior. And you can be anywhere in the middle of those two. The beginner is 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating. And 16 hours of not eating sounds like a lot of time until you realize that you're sleeping through most of it. So here, if you're doing 8 hours of eating, so you could have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 9, 1, and was it 6? I think that's what it was. You can have those 3 meals and then just stop eating until 9 a.m. the next day. You went 16 hours of fasting. That sounds not so hard to do. And if you want to become a warrior at this, you're going to do a 20-hour fast in only 4 hours. I've done that before. You don't have to do that. You can definitely do that. It's not that hard to do. I typically do I'd say I do my lunch around 1 o'clock and my dinner around 7. So I do a 6 hour. So I'm like 18.6, I guess is what it'll be. So what are the reasons why? What are the benefits of doing this? So if you take a look at this, so you're going to improve your appetite control. And that is one of the I feel like the easiest things to notice when you're doing this is that you aren't as hungry. You'd be amazed. Not eating makes you not as hungry. So that's appetite control. Increased mental focus, stable energy levels, because you're burning fat for fuel instead of carbohydrates, blood sugar control, insulin, all these fantastic things. You're reducing your hunger pains, your blood pressure comes down, inflammation comes down, oxidative stress, which leads to cancer, comes down, triglycerides and LDL cholesterol come down when you eat this way. So prolonging how long the window is where you don't eat actually improves your health. It is amazing stuff. So what about late night snacking habit? That's a great question. So here's the thing. One of the easiest ways to fix that is stop buying things that you would eat at night. Stop buying the snacks. Don't buy the ice cream. Don't buy the chips. Because I can tell you, I've done it before. I'm hungry after dinner. Probably because I was up too late, like 11 o'clock, and I'm going, okay, I'm walking through looking for chips. And because I did such a good job at the store and I didn't buy chips, I got nothing to do. So then I'm like, well, I guess I could eat some carrots or just go to bed. And I just go to bed. If that doesn't work for you, my next rule would be, I want you to drink 16 ounces of cold water and wait 5 minutes. I bet you money you're not going to be hungry anymore. That's an easy way to get over it as well. I like doing both of those things, being better at the store and then drinking the water if we need to. So what does a day look like when you're intermittent fasting? So again, 7 to 11, you're waking up, you're not eating breakfast. You have a window of 12 p.m. So you're eating your lunch at 12, you're eating again at 6 for dinner, and then you're fasting and then sleeping. So here we have 2 to 3 meals. So what I've done for you guys is I've actually put this together for you in what we call the 21-day reset. I know it's going to be hard to see here. You can't see the whole thing. Oh, there you go. That's a little bit better. This 21-day reset. This is our intermittent fasting plan. In this plan, we have, it's a 3-week plan, and this is for anybody to do. It's made for beginners, intermediate, and advanced people that have done this before. If you're a beginner, week 1 goes like this: 3 advanced plan meals. And I think it's an 8-hour window. Week 2, you get rid of breakfast and you go lunch and dinner. Week 3, you just do lunch, and for dinner, you do a smoothie. And that's really where I feel like I get the most benefit. I like to do this type of plan. I just go straight to, because I've been doing it so often, where I just do a smoothie for lunch and an advanced plan dinner. Sometimes I'll have to switch it depending on my schedule. I might have to do an advanced plan lunch and a smoothie for dinner, or vice versa, whatever it is. You can switch those around. It does not matter which one you do where, but you're doing it just for lunch and dinner. You're skipping breakfast. Now, if that's too much for you to start with, that's why I do have this plan where I do have 3 meals, then 2 meals, then 1 meal to help ease you into it. And you can stay on these intermittent fasting plans for a good while and not feel deprived. I'm telling you, the amount of control you're going to have of your diet is immense, and it feels good to have that type of control. What's really cool about this is every day it's going to tell you what you should be eating, and even better, in the back are all of your recipes. So we've given you everything that you need in this toolkit. And Whitney put this up here. If you would like a copy of this, we will be glad to email you a free PDF version of this. All you need to do is email us at frontdesk@mossfamilywellness.com and let us know in the subject 21-day reset, and we'll go ahead and email that out to you in the next day or two. So we are learning about eating differently. We're getting rid of or perfecting our proteins, curbing our carbs, trashing the toxins. We're doing all these changes. Now we're going to start to make a window of where we're eating, so we're really going to amplify these results. But there's a couple of things I really want you to know and to do. If we want to get the best results, there are a few supplements that I highly recommend that you do and get. These 2 right here are the 2 that I think everybody should be on. This is something I recommend for all of my patients, because these are supplements that our body cannot make, and we typically do not get enough of it from our diet. And if we don't get these things from our diet, we need the supplement. So number 1 is the Perfect Omega supplement. It's called the Optimal Omega. It is your fatty acid. It is your fish oil. It is actually a balanced ratio between omega-3s and omega-6s. So it's giving you all your good fats right there in 2 capsules. The good news about our stuff is that it does not taste like fish. Whitney is a bit sensitive to that sensation, that smell. So what she does, and I typically do it too, I just take mine at night before I go to bed. You will not notice a thing, but if you ever get a fishy one that's really fishy, that means it's rancid, and that is not a high quality product. That is not what ours does. But this is very important for people to have boosted immune system, reducing inflammation. It helps with cognition. It helps with a whole bunch of different things. So this is something that everybody in your household should be on right now. And the other one is vitamin D3. Now, technically, vitamin D is free, right? Where do we get it from? We get it from the sun. But to get enough vitamin D, you need to be out at noon for 30 minutes every single day with basically no clothes on to get the right amount of exposure. Now, most of us are not doing that. This is why I recommend supplementing with vitamin D. Now, how much do you need to take? I highly recommend 5,000 international units every single day. Now, the good news is our vitamin D actually has 10 billion CFUs of probiotics in it. And the purpose of those products, 1, is to help your digestion, but 2, it helps the absorbability of vitamin D. Now, what are the the good things about vitamin D? Why do we need to take it? It reduces inflammation, oxidative stress, it helps with weight loss. But honestly, the number 1 thing is it helps boost your immune system. Without vitamin D, your immune system does not function properly. And right now, they're now starting to say that, oh, look, the people that have more vitamin D in their body are not getting the COVID-19. It's like, wow, I had no idea that was going to happen, right? I've been saying that for the past 3 months. Please take your vitamin D, please take your vitamin C, and stay adjusted, and you're going to be just fine. But a study not too long ago by the U.S. government actually studied 13,331 adults It was a national survey that examined and determined if there was a link between death and vitamin D deficiency. What they found was a deficiency in vitamin D was linked to an all-cause mortality rate. What that basically means is the people with the lowest levels of vitamin D, which was still normal, but they were in the 25% of the lowest part of vitamin D of the normal range. If it was in the 25% or lower, you had an increase of 26% risk of death from any disease. So again, basically, taking this vitamin D increases or decreases your risk of death by 26%. Sounds like a no-brainer. I would highly suggest that. I think everybody needs to be on it, including your kids. The kids also, there is an optimal omega vitamin D complex that's all together. It tastes like raspberries. Kathleen, does taking supplements before bed interfere with intermittent fasting? No, it does not, because none of this is going to be food. These supplements are just fine to take, but I would not do your smoothie before bed because the smoothie is technically food. So the grass-fed protein is definitely something I would be taking, and that's what I would be using for my meal replacements. We have the grass-fed protein. We also have the bone broth protein. It's up to you on which one you would like. For this one, I typically would do the grass-fed protein. Now, we introduced just a few months ago, and some of my patients I realized didn't hear about this, but to save money and actually get people a good foundation when it comes to supplements, Max Living came out with what are called the Daily Essentials. We have a men's pack and a women's pack. And what's really cool about this, inside of each one of these boxes, 30 little packets with every supplement you need for one day. So if you were to go out of town, go on vacation, you don't need to bring 14 bottles with you. You don't have to open one up every time. You just take one packet and you got everything you need. In each packet are 2 of the optimal omegas, 1 of the vitamin D with probiotics, 2 magnesium glycinate, which we talked about last week, which is really important for cardiovascular health and your digestion, vitamin B complex, which is part of just all your energy production. And then there's the men's and women's multi. And of course, not only are you getting a good multivitamin with that, the men's vitamin also has stuff in there for antioxidants and cardiovascular health and prostate health. The women has stuff in there for, again, antioxidant, immune boosting. I think it was breast health as well, and then hair, skin, and nails. So if you were to buy all those things separately, it's $127. If you buy that box by itself, together, it's only $99, which is awesome. We do have some in stock at the office. We don't have very many, and the unfortunate thing is online, they are back ordered right now. But once they come back in, if you were to order it and do a auto ship where they send it to you every month, not only you get free shipping, I think you get a better deal. I think it's like 10% off. So that's probably the way I would go. This last one, if you're going to do this and you're going to do it right and you're going to start burning fat, there's something very important that you need to do. You have to understand what is in those fat cells that you're burning. Toxins. Your body has protected your liver and your kidneys from all the toxins you've been ingesting and eating and breathing. To protect your body liver from overloading, it has ushered these toxins into your fat cells to protect its organs. This is a fantastic thing, but what's going to happen if you start to burn all this fat? You're going to release all the toxins that have been stored away, which could be a good thing. But if your body gets overwhelmed, the liver gets overwhelmed with all the toxins, what's going to happen? The toxins are going to go right back into fat cells, and then this is not going to work as well. You might lose a little bit of weight and gain it right back, or you might just have a little bit of leftover and you can't get that last couple pounds off. Those are just toxins that need to be ushered out of your body. So whenever I have my patients losing weight, I know that that's their goal and they're going to burn fat and they're doing all these awesome things. I always tell them, please do the detox system at the same time. The detox system is a 2-part system. Inside that box, there are 2 bottles. One is your cell detox and one is your body detox. The purpose of the cell detox, so you take 2 of those in the morning. The cell detox has cleansers for your cells. So it actually goes in and cleans out your cells with things like chlorella, milk thistle, probiotics, spirulina. It also has glutathione and superoxide dismutase, which are really strong antioxidants. So it's there to protect from further damage, but also extracts toxins out of your cells. And then at night, you take the body detox. The body detox has sulfur and activated carbon and magnesium. What that does, it binds to the toxins and takes it to your digestive system and allows you to gently eliminate them from your body. So when you're losing this fat and the toxins build up, this allows your body not to get overwhelmed and store the fat again. Now, the one question I typically get with this is, Is this going to make me go to the bathroom a lot? This is not a cleanse. This is a very gentle detoxification. All this is doing is helping your body do its job. So you know you're not going to have to run to the bathroom. But again, I want you to get the most out of this. If you're going to do it the right way, please get the detox system. Again, you can get this stuff in our office. You can also buy it online, and Whitney will put that link up for you on the screen, and she'll also put it up in our comments, so you can click on that link and go right to our online store and order it right to your house if you don't live close to us. Now, I know you learned a lot here tonight. Sometimes it's like drinking from a fire hose. I get it. If you have any questions about some of the things that you've learned here tonight, I'm a great resource for you. You can always email us with questions. Whitney's she's done so many different things with nutrition. She's lost like 35 pounds in the past few years. She's done almost some of the more strict like diets, and not even diets, but cleanses. She is a great resource. So you can always ask us any of those questions that you might have. Please email those to us or ask us when you come to the office. Now, as much as I love talking about nutrition, and we all know that eating well is very, very important, there is one thing that's more important than eating well. When my patients ask me, where do I start with this 5 essential thing? If I want to be healthy, where do I start? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not eating better, and it's not exercising, and it's not detoxifying, because none of those things really matter if your body is not healing and functioning from inside. So this is why we always have to look at the nervous system. Again, if we want to be healthy, the definition of health is proper health and proper healing and proper function. The brain is in control of all health, all healing, and all function in our body. My job is to make sure that it's working properly, uninterrupted. I want uninterrupted flow from the brain to the body. Without that, it doesn't matter what you're eating. It doesn't matter how much you weigh. It doesn't matter how much you exercise. So what I want to do, and this is why you guys, my patients, what you guys have done, you've come in, you've got examinations, we've discovered subluxations, misalignments in your spine, choking off life to the body. We've reduced them. We're maintaining them to keep the power on. This is why when I adjust my patients, what do I say? I always say after the adjustment, what? Power's on, because I remove the interference, allow the proper flow to your body so that you can stay healthy. Keep your body in a state of ease, get the body out of a state of dis-ease, which leads to disease and dysfunction, and keep you there from now on. So that's why we're staying healthy. That's how we're staying healthy. That's why we're continuing to maintain. But there's some of you out there that are watching this and like, I've never been to a chiropractor. I don't know what this subluxation thing is. How do you know if you have a subluxation? Well, sometimes there's some easy answers, like my neck hurts, or I have headaches, or my low back hurts. I'm going to tell you right now, headaches, neck pain, low back pain, you're not having these problems because you haven't taken enough medication. The only reason why you're having these problems is that your body's yelling at you. It's telling you that you're not healing, you're not functioning, and to fix that problem, not your headache problem. And if you're going to doctors and taking medication, you're not addressing the cause of the problem. This is why I always suggest if you have a problem, go to a chiropractor first to find out if it's a health from inside problem. Is it a subluxation problem? Is it a healing problem? If we can remove interference, allow your body to heal again, you're going to be healthier without the medication. So yes, headaches, neck pain, back pain, we get that. People understand, go to a chiropractor for that. But what about stuff like asthma? I can't tell you how many children have come to me. In fact, one of my son's best friends had asthma so bad when he was 3 years old. And the doctor said if he has another asthma attack, he's probably going to die because he's no longer responding to the strongest medications that we have. That was the last straw for them to finally come to me for help. And I discovered that he had a major subluxation at the top of his back. And I started to adjusting it. I started removing the interference that was causing issues with his lungs. And guess what happened? He never had an asthma attack again. Okay, this is powerful stuff. So it could be any problem you could ever think of. IBS, digestive issues, dizziness, fatigue. Overall, I just don't feel well. It tells me your body's probably not healing and functioning the way it's supposed to. Go to a chiropractor and figure this out. If you live anywhere near me, we're in Canton, Georgia, give us a call, shoot us an email, let us know that you would like to come and get an evaluation. If you live nowhere near my office, I want you to write this down. I want you to go to maxliving.com, and you can type in your address and find a doctor that does exactly what we do, corrective care, lifestyle changes that is closer to your house, that you can get the care that you need. And I will tell you right now, I live by this. Everybody deserves to be healthy. Every single one of you deserves to be healthy. You were all put on this earth by God for a purpose. Please don't ever let your health get in your way of fulfilling that purpose. If you're not fulfilled in life and you're not where you need to be and your health is holding you back, don't wait. Call our office, go to Max Living, find yourself a chiropractor and get your life changed, please. Now, just to follow us with other things that we have going on. Again, if you're a patient, you should already be signed up. If you're not and you want to follow us, you can follow us on Facebook. We're on Facebook. We're now on Instagram. You can go to our website, which is mossfamilywellness.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. And of course, our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, we're going to be putting out more content with that. And if you have any questions that we have not addressed and you just have a question you don't want to ask in front of anybody else, please just shoot us an email. Let us know that you have a question. We'd be glad to answer that for you. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you guys soon.